Authoritarians hate this. If you look at China, they have a social credit system. They have a central bank digital currency. If you do things that the Chinese Communist Party don't like, they can debank you in a millisecond and just shut off all of your money, right? And Elizabeth Warren has come out and said this, that because crypto is so much used for money laundering when literally trillions have been laundered through the fiat system, and it's a small fraction of that in crypto, that we need to have a central bank digital currency where the government controls digital currency, right? If you look at the PayPal stablecoin, that's a private stablecoin that contains code to just zero out somebody's wallet as well. And that's a very dangerous thing. We've seen something going on in this country called Operation Choke Point 2.0. About a week or two ago, FinCEN was exposed at having bank accounts of conservatives closed. So you've seen weaponization throughout this Biden administration. They were found guilty by a trial court and an appellate court. It's now going to the Supreme Court in a case called Missouri versus Biden, where the administration knowingly conspired to deprive Americans of their First Amendment rights to free speech and have them deplatformed off social media. So Fauci, the Surgeon General, the Department of Justice, the FBI have all been found by a trial court, affirmed by an appellate court, that this administration violated thousands of Americans' First Amendment rights. FinCEN has been shown to illegally direct the closing of Americans' bank accounts. So if you have a central bank digital currency, it becomes all that much easier. So to me, the fight for crypto is the fight for Western civilization and freedom versus central bank digital currencies are the tool of totalitarianism.
But I feel like the legal system, our judges are doing a good job. Am I wrong?
Doing a great job.
100%. You made the perfect comment about a check on an autocratic agency. In the Ripple case that I talked about earlier, the federal judge said, quote, the SEC lacks faithful allegiance to the law. Then in Grayscale, they were denied a Bitcoin spot ETF. They sued, and the District Court of Appeals came back and said that it was arbitrary and capricious, that you were denying investors the right to a spot ETF while you were approving a futures ETF. The same rationale applies, and we won in that case. And we're seeing case after case of the court system holding the SEC accountable, and we got the spot ETF just because of the courts.
So Jeremy, let me play autocratic regulator, okay, and you're my chief strategist. So I don't like what's going on. James and John are winning court cases, courts siding against me. So am I capitulating? I'm autocratic regulator. Am I capitulating, or am I dialing it up and getting fiercer? And if I'm going to get fiercer, you're my strategist. What's my strategy?
I mean, one strategy would be to double down and to use the regulatory tools that you have to ensure that the definitions, which is really what this is about. This is a debate on definitions. Do we use 20th century definitions to cover a 21st century technology, or do we create entirely new 21st century definitions? And what are they? And I think
But you need the legislature. You would need
Right.
somebody like the House of Representatives or the Senate to actually legislate. They don't like doing that because it costs them elections. That's why we run the budget on continuing resolutions. They don't want to give any new laws out because they're concerned about it being controversial. So let's say that we have a status quo situation in the legal environment. Go ahead. How do I turn up the screws on this industry and make it more difficult for these two gentlemen, John and James, to win cases?
You litigate until it chills the market, and you up the leverage. I mean, this is what they've done in a number of many different cases. You also creatively, again, we were just mentioned definitions. It's all about, if you define the terms of the argument, you win the argument. And this is what the battle is. Both of these gentlemen are fighting, as yourself, to define the parameters of this debate. And that's what the faithful allegiance to the law, which is what you referenced. And so I think that and that's what's happening.